Welcome to Usafbl Fingerboard Podcast. I'm your host, Levine Cunningham, and I'm excited to be chatting with Justin Loring. Justin is known as Ninjalion.FB on Instagram. Justin, thanks for coming on the podcast. How are you?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me, Levine.
Definitely. So we've got a very exciting episode today. We've got Justin Loring on the mic. We're going to get to know him a little bit, and then we're going to be deep diving about some serious issues that we've noticed in the fingerboarding industry. So we've got a lot of hot topics, a lot of hot takes, not your typical episode. So I'm excited to kind of get into it. So first off, Justin, where are you? Like, I'm looking at a wall of some new, some old tech decks. You got some obstacles. Looks like a little station.
Right. That's what I call my lab. It's just like my little basement area down here. So I got like my whole collection. I got my old tech decks here from like 1999 up to today. And then my wallpaper of the new tech decks. Yeah, obstacles that I made. It's basically my whole skate park. And
no, I feel that. I like it. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
For people that don't know you, I would probably go on a limb and say that you are more of a clip master. You're one of those fingerboarders that are just constantly dropping those hot fire edits.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Basically, I just wanted to make like content consecutively.
You are something that I've always kind of wanted to become, but I never went the self-film yourself, edit, and then dropping clips on the internet kind of person. And so kudos to you guys. I have a lot of insecurities, and this is going to be maybe something that a lot of people may not even recognize or even know, but like I actually have my ring finger on my right hand it's got a snapped ligament. And so I actually can't bend my finger like all the way in. And so it kind of just dangles there when I'm fingerboarding. And so like now that I've said it, like everybody's going to look at any clips that I do have out there and they're gonna be like, oh my gosh, his finger does dangle. And so for me, like I love to fingerboard, but like I'm always like kind of insecure about like recording my fingerboarding because of just the awkwardness of the finger just dangling next to your two primary fingerboarding fingers. I don't know. And so like I don't know, the internet is kind of like it's a great place, and it can also be like a harsh place. And so like I kind of avoid making those edits mainly because that finger looks awkward in those edits. And so if I can get clips where like it doesn't look like awkward, or it's like looks more natural, I could probably maybe throw something out like that. But I know a lot of people, they're just kind of scared to just get any kind of feedback or reactions and stuff like that to anything that they put online and stuff. And so I feel like that's definitely something that I struggle with and a lot of other people would struggle with.
Oh yeah, I feel that, people can be pretty brutal. For example, I posted a video. I did do eclipse with like, I'll start a trick with one hand and I'll land into it with another hand. And then I'll do the trick into the other hand and finish it, So it's like basically like a body transfer with a fingerboard. No, but somebody commented like, it's kind of cool, but totally unrealistic. And I'm just like, why did you need to comment that? Like you could have been like ignored it, or you could have been just a little like click. They had a comment, give their little 2 cents in. So somebody's always going to have that criticism in what you do, whether it be like, oh, you didn't land that smooth, or hey, look, Levine's got dangle finger, like it's just people are going to do that stuff, people are like that. You just got to tough through it. And
for the record, like I've seen body what do you call that? A body transfer?
I call it a hand transfer, but technically like full scale
it'd be like
yeah,
a body transfer. So like I've seen clips of that happening in street skateboarding where like they go on two people are coming up and they're like going onto a handrail and like they'll go in and try to board slide, but they'll catch the other person's board and they'll finish off the board slide. And then there's old clips where like Andy McDonald and like Tony Hawk are on a vert ramp and they're both going up and they're doing like a frontside 180 or something like that. And they basically like swap boards in midair with each other.
I remember that clip is awesome. Yeah, they do like frontside, like Tony does a frontside Indian swaps, and I think they both probably do. But yeah, I remember that clip. That was cool.
Exactly, but I remember them like doing something. I mean, we're talking like 20 years ago. We're talking like the
97, 98.
Yeah, like the Birdhouse tour and all that back in the late 90s. It wasn't even the 2000s. It was definitely like late 90s. But yeah, it goes back. I have to dust off the VHS tape. I might be able to catch that throw it in here.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely the time that like I got into it, like mid 90s about when I got into skateboarding.
Yeah.
Definitely a good time.
So where are you located out of?
I'm located in Michigan, Michigan. I'm in Jackson. That's pretty
Okay.
much like smack dab in the mitten. Like,
For those that haven't heard me say this, unpopular opinion, and I'll stand by it again, but Michigan right now is kind of running things for fingerboarding as far as events, in-person events goes.
yeah, we're definitely mobbing deep up in Michigan,
I'm gonna
if
leave
you get
that at
what I'm
that.
saying.
I can't.
Interpret that however you'd like.
Fair enough, fair enough. We're just gonna leave that right there. But even just in the last 2 weeks, I mean, we had Redemption had a in-person event, very rare like in-person event, and I want to say something else also happened last weekend as well.
There was an event here in my town for Go Skateboard Day.
Oh,
I
that's
took
right.
a fingerboard mark, but before that, the chicken fingers happened not too long ago.
Yeah, we had Chicken
So
Fingers, we had the Redemption event, and then we had Go Skateboarding Day as well. So just in that short
yes,
period of
sir.
time, we had three pretty significant events just happening in your area. So we also
Yeah, it was
got
crazy.
Grind Time 5 coming up. We've got the Ferndale, Michigan with Kevin Woods event coming at the end of the month as well. And then I want to say that Fatty's is doing something, if I'm not mistaken. I may have to, don't fact check me on this, but I'm pretty sure they're doing something as well.
Right. I know they just had boards and brews last week, and maybe that's
That's
what
what it
you're thinking
was.
of.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. Inside the
Yeah,
offline,
yeah,
boards and brews. Yeah.
yeah. That just happened, and I believe Matt from Pipsqueak is doing an event at some point. I think he said August in Lansing.
He's planning something. I don't have any of the actual details, so
Yeah.
I'll have to hopefully get with him and actually see exactly where we're at with that event. But yeah, they're definitely planning something as well. There's always something going on in Michigan. It's pretty crazy. So if you guys
Always.
are close to the Michigan border or anything like that, you should definitely pop in and say hi.
Oh yeah, we're always got something going on.
So
Heck
I
yeah.
guess let's talk about your fingerboarding, skateboarding journey. I mean, did skateboarding come first or did fingerboarding come first?
Yeah, probably skateboarding come first. My cousin Dwayne gave me an old Vision Mark Gonzalez board. It was like fish shaped, like cruiser old school bullet wheels, which were probably like 62 millimeters. And it was just an old school setup. He gave it to me when I was like seven. Yeah, I'd be seven-ish. And yeah, I just started skateboarding and then the X Games come out and it just kind of exploded. And yeah, it just kind of got me into skateboarding at an early age, and tech decks. Actually, I probably got it was like a got milk like keychain fingerboard before I actually had a tech deck, and then tech decks come out, and yeah, my grandma bought me my very first tech deck, and it's a wrap after that. Years of driving my parents crazy with the clicking and clacking. Yeah, my
Definitely.
mom.
That's
My,
always been a big thing for me as well, is the clickety clackety.
yeah, my mom used to like hide them. I'd find them in the freezer and cabinets. Just she'd be like, "Get them out of here! Hide them from them. That won't annoy me anymore." It's definitely a long-standing hobby and interest.
So have you been fingerboarding the entire time or are you kind of popping in and out?
I fingerboarded up until I started a family, and then I quit, or I wouldn't say quit, but I rarely used it. Took like a sabbatical for probably a decade, from probably like 2000 and 2010ish to 2020. I pretty
Okay.
much didn't use a fingerboard really.
And COVID brought you back?
Well, what happened is I don't know. It's a long story. Basically, like me and the mother of my children didn't work out. Split up. Me and my kids are like doing our own thing, and then I got them tech decks for Christmas one year. I just like stocking stuffers. I bought them four of them. They only got two of them. Like I busted two of them open, like and enjoy one and the blind one. And yeah, I was like, oh man, I missed this. I was popping a couple kick flips and front side flips. I was like, oh, I still do all this. I still got it. And it's like just reignited that passion, man. I just brought it back. It's awesome to be back into it, because like it's something I really missed. Like I just kind of forgot about it, out of sight, out of mind.
One of those things that where it fingerboarding, especially in the early days, like I don't know why it was so nostalgic. I think it was just because of the whole culture boom with it. But whenever I came back to fingerboarding from COVID, it literally just brought back those nostalgic vibes for sure. And I was like fingerboarding and still like, I mean, I dusted off all the old skate videos and stuff like that. Like literally, like I just walked back like 15 years of my life and just been like, you know what? Like I'm gonna take it way back and just kind of cash in on those classic vibes.
Right, bring back that inner youth,
Yeah, no, definitely. I don't know why it went away, and almost everybody kind of has the same story where, basically from 2005, 2010, all the way to about 2019 or 2020, like there's this gap where nobody fingerboarded. And I don't know how we all just kind of fell off the rocker, I guess you would say, but it's interesting how many people have the same story. There's very few people that kind of like stayed with it like nonstop through the entire like, 97, 98, 99, all the way through like, to today.
Yeah, yeah. I know a few people have like Trash Panda, for example. He rides for Tech Deck. He's been nonstop using Tech Decks forever now, since probably 1999.
So I know we've been talking a lot about tech decks, and just in case, we've got the internet trolls and all that, but I mean, are you still rocking tech decks? Are you more on a professional setup? Like kind of tell us what your fingerboarding setup is right now.
My setup is it's a high joint, double joint, box nose deck, 34 millimeters, what I ride. Inverted standard dynamics all day long. Level up tuning. I gotta have my like medium tuning. I don't really like the loose, like jiggle jiggle, holy crap, your trucks are barely together kind of thing. But yeah, and lab wheels all day long because you can ride these things anywhere. I stand by what Gary goes by. I take them out in the street. Freaking, they'll survive anything. They really will. Yep, that and secret tape, 1 millimeter, my go-to. So yeah,
Okay.
that's pretty much my setup. Tech decks are more a wall art type thing now. They just look cool.
I can't even make this up, but I have the exact same deck. And you said high joint?
Yep, you got the lumberjack.
Did we just become best friends? Yep.
I do. And I feel like I need to go get it. I feel like my editing guy needs to do like the, 5 moments later thing. And I'm going to
All
go like do
right.
a show and tell. Hold on. Hold on.
First off, your editing guy's name is Brian. It's Brian. It's always been Brian. I'm still Brian. Now get back here with your fingerboard.
I've got the lumberjack high joint, double joint, 34 millimeter deck as well. Dynamics. And then I actually rock abstracts.
Oh, abstracts. What you got? The 101s or the 60 or the 61s?
The 61As. Yeah.
Yeah, the softer formula.
Mhm.
Heck yeah, man, those are good wheels. I like them.
So that's actually crazy that you got pretty much the exact same setup.
Yeah, I used to like the black sheet, but then like I don't know, just the more mellowness and the way it pops. Just the high joints are really solid mold. So like nobody's tried double joint. I'd recommend that if you don't like aggressive concave and kick.
I also like it because it's pretty much symmetrical as well.
Yeah, you can ride it forward and backwards. Well,
Hmm.
technically not mine. I got the boxy nose,
Oh,
so
gotcha.
it does kind of make a little difference, just slightly though.
Yeah, I've got the popsicle. That's my go-to. So pretty much been rocking that setup. Not this one particularly, but I've got an older setup that's pretty sure I just thrashed, and that's basically always been my go-to.
Heck yeah. Milk turned me on to the boxy nose, the 2%.
Hmm.
Shout out to Milk because like we go back. I started using Milks right after he rebranded from the FF brand that he was using.
I remember that. It's a good episode as well. We had him on the podcast, kind of telling him the story.
Yeah, he's a cool dude. Mike's definitely a homie.
So, are you a sponsored writer?
Currently, no, I'm not. We're all still cool though. Like Fast Digits UK, me and Baldy are awesome. Like we're cool. There was another sponsor I had, Boozy Ramps. Me and him are like really old friends. He's one of like my earliest friends in the scene. Let's see, there was Fathers, which is my most recent one. And I just felt like I love Mason to death. He's a homie. He's
Yeah, no, I
definitely a
get
cool
it.
dude.
I love Mason as well. He's got the I mean that's the vibe that he's going for, which I mean
Yeah.
there's a lot of people who love that vibe and stuff, but I can see how that's not for everyone.
We're all cool. We're all a community still in the end. We love each other. It's all love.
Yeah, well that's the thing about fingerboarding is that there's so many different sectors and little pockets, and there's almost like whatever you're into, I feel like there's definitely a group out there for you.
That's weird because like we use the term community, but in actuality, a community is a group of everybody. Like that's a network. It's like you just said, it's more of like a network. It's more like pods. It's like cliques, like in high school. Like we all have a group that we hang out with, and if you ain't hang out with that group, we don't want nothing to do. It's kind of like that in a way.
Kind of, it is kind of like high school. It is because you do have like, your jocks and your nerds and you got your gamers and your potheads and like pretty much all of like the stereotypical little cliques, whatever that happened within high school. Like it's definitely in the fingerboarding community.
Yeah, yeah, but we can also get along, coexist and stuff too. We're all trying to accomplish like the greater goal here. We're trying to just like make fingerboarding as popular and big as we can. That's what everybody's doing. That's what we got to do.
No, this is facts. This is definitely facts. So I mean, like when we're looking at the community, we're looking at fingerboarding. I mean, we're looking at like how much it has grown, how far like fingerboarding has come. I mean, like COVID definitely brought a new, like fresh breath of air into the industry for sure. Cause I mean, almost everybody just kind of came out of retirement, hibernation mode, whatever you want to call it. And, we're all pretty much kind of full force into fingerboarding. Some people kind of, scaled back, once COVID kind of was done with. And, but the majority of us, we still stuck it out. And I mean, the industry as a whole is just, it's growing so fast.
It is, and it's crazy, and it's awesome, and it's wonderful. Like just coming from tech decks in the late '90s to Mike creating a flat face and Black Rivers 25 years, and just how much it stepped up and evolved over time. It's pretty magnificent.
No, it's absolutely wild. I mean, YouTube was big and then it kind of fell off. And then now YouTube is absolutely like just huge as far as, fingerboarding, social media influencers and stuff like that. Like I would probably say like 4 or 5 times more like fingerboarding influencers now than there was probably before COVID.
Yeah, it definitely exploded on YouTube. That's something that I'm lacking on. I got a YouTube, but I have but maybe like 2 videos on there of fingerboarding. It's something that I need to step my game up on because I've been just focusing on Instagram mostly, but it's kind of evolved over time.
Yeah, and then someone who's like, like you that does a lot of clips. I mean, like fingerboarding TikTok is absolutely massive. Like TikTok for fingerboarding has been, I mean, it's pushed a lot of people just in great directions. It's people have literally built huge followings just off of the TikTok side. I mean, TikTok fingerboarding is like, or fingerboarding TikTok, like, I mean, it is, once you get on fingerboarding TikTok, you can't leave fingerboarding TikTok. Like you have to start a whole new account.
Right. It's like fingerboarders of TikTok. I started on TikTok actually. Like now that you bring it up, your content out there, there's multiple of them and there's different audiences on each one, which is kind of cool too if you think about.
And then the event space is crazy as well. So before COVID, from what I could tell, there was roughly probably about 20 to 30 events that were happening across the nation. And now, I mean, we're easily clearing 80 events nationwide. And I mean, I think that maybe this year or possibly even next year, we might actually break like 100 fingerboarding events happening in America.
Ooh, that's wild to think about, ain't it? What's even crazier is like how many would actually exist right now if not for you, because you started the Usafbl and basically said, hey, I could do that too, and you kindled something there, Levine.
Don't really like to just like, brag about stuff like that, but I mean, I feel like I am responsible for breathing like new life into the fingerboarding event space for sure, because people want to go to fingerboarding events, but almost nobody wants to host a fingerboarding event just because of the amount of work, the resources, you got to put out, you got to find parks. Like there's just a lot of logistical stuff that goes behind, starting in a fingerboarding event. And so for me, when I started, my journey with USFBL, like I didn't realize how much I would inspire other people to also start their own fingerboarding events.
Yeah, right. I mean, you definitely did, man. Like from somebody in the community who's observed it. You know, like I watched the first USAFBL, the tour that you did, and I was like watching the like clips and the recaps and stuff. And I'm like, oh, man, that looks like so much fun. It looks like such a good time, you know, like that literally made me think I could do that too, you know, like Levine can get that shit done, you know, with a little bit of resources. I think everybody could, you know.
It's just somebody just has to have just enough confidence and just enough kahunas to basically just say like, you know what, like I think I can do this. I think I can make this work, and then actually like set out and actually make that happen.
I know I haven't organized one personally, but I've worked with like Pipsqueak wheels at the Finger Frenzy events. There's been
Okay.
4 of them so far. And yeah, I've always like I brought apart three of them. So like just bringing all the tables, all the parts, organizing all the stuff and unpacking it and repacking it. And then the whole time you're looking at the park hoping somebody don't destroy your stuff too, you know. Like it's definitely a lot of work, you know, along with the raffles and
hmm
everything's got to come together perfectly to make one awesome event.
It's for anyone who's not done events regularly or even at all, like it is a logistical nightmare. But once you host your first event and like that just feeling of relief and that anxiety just kind of goes away after your first event because now you're like, all right, going in, like you kind of know because fingerboarding events, they're awesome, but like they're pretty structured. They're pretty like they're not overly complicated. It's just the organization, like just organizing the event is going to be the hardest thing. Just making sure that, you know, you're marketing it properly. Flyers are going out in timely manner. You got enough people bringing parks, you're supplying parks, like, you know, you got sponsors and raffles, things like that. And so once you kind of get all of that stuff out of the way, like the rest of the event it's a breeze. It's just organizing it and setting everything up and tearing everything down. And then if you're lucky enough as an event host, like you might be able to have enough time to actually do a kickflip at, you know, at that said event. So,
All right.
and I make it
Yeah,
sound like
that
it's not enjoyable, but like it's like riding a motorcycle in the rain. Like it sucks, but there's no other place that you would rather be. Like that's just the way it is.
yeah, that's true. Or freaking true, my bad.
I know that like one of the big topics that kind of came across our way is that for people who are starting out, especially because the fingerboarding industry is a very hard industry to get your foot into the door and actually become just a noticed person or even a noticed brand. And so, from my observations, basically from COVID all the way to now, which is, you know, almost going on like 5 years, I've seen lots of companies start out and then just vanish.
Yeah, it definitely gets crazy.
Oh, it's absolutely nuts. And so a lot of the big things that I've noticed, it's just like, you know, let's say you want to make decks. And so like, let's say you actually go all out and you actually get, you know, a professional mold, whether it's an aluminum mold or even like one of the Create Escape molds or anything like that, that's more on the higher end type stuff. And like, you know, you buy a few molds, you spend some money, you start making some decks and you put it on Etsy. And you're like, I'm going to, you know, try to make a living doing this, or at least, you know, subsidize some of my income and try to do this on a larger scale and try to be, you know, a professional deck maker, like a lot of people have dreams of doing. And so, you know, you're putting on an Etsy, you got a, you know, big cartel shop and you only sell like, you know, 10 boards in like 2 months. And, you know, you've been making decks all day, you've been promoting them, you've been, you know, putting them on Instagram, like just anywhere that basically eyeballs are at. And you just don't sell any decks. Like there's nothing more devastating to like your ego and to just your whole thought process of just, you know, what you envisioned your journey would be like when you make all these decks. You only sling a few decks over a long period of time and they just don't sell, they don't move. And so feeling like, you know, you belong, and even if you do it for even long, I've known a couple of people that like, dude, I've only sold like 15 decks over 6 months. And so like they've been doing their craft for 6 months and like it just never took off.
Yeah, it's definitely a struggle. Like I know that firsthand because like I started off making resin obstacles. My first obstacles were they're cereal ledges. They were like Fruit Loops and Fruity Pebbles and like
Were you the one that had the ashtray that had like the cereal, the wheels or something like that in it? Are you that guy?
yep, yep. Yeah, I made a build tray for Pipsqueak. It's got a
That's right.
bunch of his old like blem wheels that I incorporated in there for them. But yeah, like what I was saying though, like I made these serial ledges with the resin, and when you do epoxy resin, you gotta wait 24 hours for it to cure, you know. So these ledges, they were 3 different pours, so it took me 3 days to make them, right?
Mhm.
And they used 40 ounces of resin a piece, and resin's approximately $1 an ounce. So 3 days of work, $40 of material, and I made 5 of them. My first run, I spent like a week and a half making these things. And I was so proud of them. And I was like, okay, cool. Everybody's gonna love these. I love these. I'm gonna post them, and I'm gonna sell them for $60 each, and I'll make $20 profit. You know, it's cheap compared to the amount of labor and like material compared to the material. $40 to make, you know, $20 profit. And basically nobody wanted them. Like I didn't sell any of them. Like I had these things for like a year and a half, dude. And eventually I ended up like parting them out. I gave them to like events, like sponsor packs. Somebody's got to use them, you know, so might as well give them out charity, you know. But it's just that really hurt, you know, just knowing that you pridefully put a lot of time and effort and money into creating things, and then like everybody looks at it like it's a steaming pile of doo-doo, you know. Like it's definitely something you got to be strong to take and persevere and push through, you know.
No, I feel that 100%. It is our industry is it's I mean, I think our industry specifically, this happens probably more often than not, just because there's a lot of people trying to enter the market. I feel like more people at that time were entering the market than were actually in the market, like already. So I feel like the like demand for stuff wasn't nearly as high, but I could be wrong. I mean, that's just speculation, but it's one of those things where, I mean, it just bruised egos basically. And so like it really gets into your feels. You start kind of self-doubting that, like, you know, well, do people even want this? Should I continue doing this? Like, you know, what's the point type of stuff. And so you kind of really get into your mental health kind of state of well-being. And it's just something that it's hard to get over and it's hard to get past. I feel like the right method, the right path to basically trying to overcome these things is not as easier said than done. And so for anybody who's kind of in this rut where like they're making a bunch of stuff and it's not moving, or it's not moving at the price that you would want it to move, the key, like you said, really, it's just you got to give like half of your stuff away. You've got to get your product into the market. A lot of times what happens is that people don't know that they need something until you make it. And so the problem is, if you don't, it's all about eyeballs. And so a lot of like when you're new, like, you know, your Instagram account isn't very big. You're not getting that reach. And that's the major problems that, you know, a lot of new people have. And so not having enough eyeballs on it is definitely going to be something that's going to be an uphill battle for you. But definitely getting on event flyers, sponsoring those events, giving away free product, doing raffles, things like that. Please, please, please do not, for the love of God, do the raffles where you gotta like literally tag 2 people and all that stuff. Like nobody likes it. Everybody does it. We get why you do it, but nobody likes it. Unpopular opinion, fight me in the comments on it for sure. But I don't know. It's at least I don't know if I like it. It's hard. I even do it with the listen to win, so I'm kind of contradicting it as well. So
Right. I mean, I'm not anti against them, but
the one that basically where like you've got to tag 2 random people to it, and then you've got to like and share it and stuff. Mine's gonna be slightly different because we're actually giving credit to the people that are involved with the raffle. But I see the ones where like you got to like tag like 2 people, 3 people, like whatever to it and stuff like that. And a lot of people will tag me. And I'm like, what is this? And then I'll look and it'll be like, oh, it's a raffle giveaway type deal. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like I get why, you know, that's being done. It makes perfect sense, but I'm not really sure like people actually like those or actually enjoy those.
right. Maybe we gotta take a community poll about it, see what
Yeah,
everybody
we're gonna
thinks.
have to, like, because I feel like my hot take might not be everybody's hot take. So let me know in the comments if you're all about those type of raffles and stuff, if you like them or not. So let me know in the comments what your thoughts are.
But yeah, it's definitely I like them. Maybe you just got some eternal beef with them, Levine.
Probably I get tagged in almost like I won't say like all of them, but I mean like it's definitely a weekly thing where I'm getting tagged in like 3 or 4 of these like raffle type item deals.
Right. It becomes like that gnat in your face. Like,
Yeah, maybe it's just because of that. Maybe, yeah, because I think like maybe the average person only gets tagged in it like every so often, so it's not that big a deal. And then here's the line, like, hot taking it because, I got like, all these tags for him, like, literally on a weekly basis. So,
yeah, I get them tagged maybe like once a month, and most time I don't even do it because I'm like, yeah, I got plenty of decks already. I got like 200 decks in a drawer over there. I don't need another one. Like,
but I can definitely tell you, I'm not the person to give you any advice on how to grow your followership, your subscribers, your followers, stuff like that. I'm not that guy. I wish I was. We'll definitely have to get a couple people on the podcast that can give you hot tips as far as how to do all of that. But I mean, whether you're a deck maker or an obstacle maker, if you're just starting out, I mean, my observation, like the rule of thumb is you got to be in the industry for a minimum of 2 years to be able to get traction in the fingerboarding industry. That doesn't, I mean, that's whether you're making a product or if you're, like Justin, who, produces clips like all day. Like you can be a fingerboarder starting out, not like starting out, but like you can be a fingerboarder who's been fingerboarding for like 10 years. And then you start your account and you're like thinking you're just going to become the next, fingerboard Chris or Jake PFB or Hawaii FB, and you got like, 20, 30, 40,000 followers. And the reality is that, you could start out and literally after a full year, you're sitting at like 2,000 followers on Instagram and you produce clips like every other day or twice a week or whatever that looks like.
yeah, like the Jake FB and FB Christopher and like even Nick, like that's like hitting the fingerboard lotto, like these guys just did something and they got famous and they got traction like immediately. Almost like I know FB Christopher hasn't been fingerboarding very long. I don't know about Jake, and Nick's only what 15, so he ain't
Yeah.
been fingerboarding long either. So you definitely want to be involved at least in the community for at least a year. People got to know you. They got to be like, oh, I've seen that guy's clips before. Or, like in my opinion, you shouldn't just come into the scene and be like, hey, I'm a new deck maker. You don't know me, but buy my stuff. Like you gotta have a little bit of street cred within the scene. People gotta know your name. You gotta be out there. You gotta talk to people. It's a community, and you gotta show that you want to be a part of that community. You know what I'm saying?
And this is something that even I had to learn. And that's with like, USAFBL. Like when I came onto the scene, like I came in, I pretty much just kicked the front door in. Like, I mean, I came in super hot, super heavy. Like we're going on tour. We've got all these parks. We got 30 parks on tour season 1. Like we're going, we're traveling the country. We're hosting large scale fingerboarding events. Everybody's like, who the hell is this guy? Like, I came out of nowhere, like, didn't have an Instagram account, never been to like a fingerboarding event, like, never hosted a fingerboarding event, making all these claims, like, we're doing large scale events, we're doing this, we're doing that, no track record whatsoever. And like, people were literally like, who is this guy? Is he serious? Is he for real? Like, I don't know about this guy. And like, I had to literally like grind out the first season just so that people, knew who I was, saw what I was doing. And then they're like, once I did it, they're like, oh, okay, I get it now. I'm on board. I'm seeing like what your vision is, what you're doing, what's going on. But like before I was doing any of the stuff and marketing everything, like no one really knew who I was. I had like 400 subscribers on my Instagram account and stuff like that. And so like, I mean, I literally started from the bottom.
Yep, you definitely have to work your way up from the bottom of the totem pole and just kind of grind it out, be part of the community, like you said. Another thing too I've noticed is like a lot of people will come in hot, and be like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna make these decks, and like they'll be in the scene for maybe like 3-4 months and then just vanish, like
Disappear,
so.
yeah.
So a lot of times I'll be like, I take all the new people that I see with a grain of salt, like, yeah, we'll see how long they stick out, we'll see how long they stay around. They're still here in a year. Maybe I'll try their decks out,
And
but
people do that. That's been my experience as well. Because even when we did season 1, people are like, oh, that's cool. You did season 1, but I bet you're not going to do another season. There won't be a season 2. And so like you still had, those people that were still still doubting me, which I mean, rightfully so. And it's the same thing with you're saying, like, just because you came in and you did something doesn't mean that you're going to come in and continually do stuff. And so people are like, all right, anybody can do something once, but can you do it twice?
Yep, or just doing it over and over without expecting anything in return. That's something that I truly value. Like I don't expect money from the community. I don't expect attention even. I just want acceptance. That's a real thing that I strive for within the fingerboard community. I just want to feel like I'm part of something that's beautiful and huge.
And that's a great take at that because almost everybody in our industry is extremely passionate about fingerboarding. They're extremely passionate about what they're doing, either if they're a fingerboarder or they're providing a service like me through events, or they're, producing a product like decks or obstacles or whatnot. And so like everybody is literally kind of looking for the community to pretty much just welcome them with open arms and just accept them and what they're doing, and giving them praise and giving them that positive feedback, that positive vibes that, everybody loves.
Yeah, that's definitely something I shoot for. Like when I see somebody new come into the groups, like I've only used tech decks and I'm looking into upgrading, I'll be like, hey, like I got you, dude. Like I know all the good stuff. Like hit me up. Like I could show you the way.
And that's things that, we need in the industry. We definitely need those positive vibes, stuff like that. I do feel like, you got at least I feel like it's 2 years. You're saying more of a year, but I mean, you definitely need to be doing whatever it is that you're doing for a prolonged period of time before you can really crack the fingerboarding market.
Like that was my strategy. I was like, I'm just gonna make content, show people I'm good at fingerboarding, and then maybe I'll start a business. I remember talking to Boozy Ramps about this. He's like, why don't you start making stuff and selling it? Because he knew I was making stuff. I was like, I don't want to sell it, dude. I was like, I'm not trying to get money. I'm trying to make cool stuff that people are going to enjoy.
And that's going to be an unpopular opinion for me, but I actually started this not looking to get money from the community as well. I just wanted to host fingerboarding events. My problem is that hosting fingerboarding events across the nation is expensive. And
Yeah.
so, I had to get parks, and then you got to find a way to transport these parks. And so I'm like, crap, I've got to go find a truck. I've got to go get a trailer. I've got to have shelving system to be able to transport all these parks. I've got to get gas to get me from this city to that city, which is 2 states away, 3 states away. And then I'm like, well, I can't do all this by myself. I've got to bring a few people. The next thing you know, I'm like, snaps, like this is becoming expensive. And then you're like, all right, well, now I've got to start charging for this stuff to offset all these expenses. And next thing you know, you're like full blown into a business. And
Right.
so just trying to host fingerboarding events and put on for the community, realizing that like you can't do it for free is it's kind of a crazy realization. And so it ended up becoming a business, but it was never meant to actually really just be a business. Like the overall goal was just to basically spread fingerboarding across the nation and hitting just those hot fingerboarding pubs, those hot spots.
Yeah, it's crazy how it like evolved from something you wanted to do to a business. Is cool and interesting if you think about it. It's cost definitely an investment, though. I can't imagine how much you spent to start that up, though. Ooh.
You don't even want to know, but
I
it's
don't even tell me, bro.
yeah, you don't even want to know, but it's absolutely kind of a crazy journey. And for me, because I did something that really hasn't been done. And so for me, when I'm looking at the initial investment of, buying the parks, the trailer, finding venues, dropping deposits, all kinds of stuff like that, just to host a fingerboarding event. It's one of those things like, in the back of my mind, like I didn't know at the time when I started, like whether people even show up to these things, whether I can even continue to make it like, sustainable, where like I can continue to do this every single year type of stuff. And so my always thought process was like, as a fingerboarder, I'm like, if this doesn't work out, I've got all the parks I could ever want my entire life. It's like, if you're a fisherman, whatever, and you go out and you buy a boat and a truck and a trailer and all that, like if it doesn't work out, you can just fish for the rest of your life. You're good. And so for me, like it's the same. Like I can fingerboard for the rest of my life. I may have to buy a few decks here and there, but like I'm set for life. And so like if it doesn't work out for whatever reasons, I'm gonna fingerboard literally till the day I die and I'm all set up for life.
Right. Even get like a pole barn or something, set it up out there and just charge people to walk in. Like, hey, you want to use my park? $5. Something like that.
One of those like, plan A is to make it, obviously work. Plan B is like, I'm set up either way. And, at the end of the day, I look back and I'm like, if it didn't work out, I tried. I definitely, made my mark on the industry. So I've definitely kind of left behind a legacy. And so
Like,
it's one
yeah,
of those like, what more could you really kind of ask for?
to have something that you love that's self-sustainable, that's something that not very many people have.
Yeah, even in the fingerboarding industry, I mean, I can only name probably 4 or 5 companies that, they do this for a living and they're absolutely killing it.
Right, yeah, like Peak, Black River, Dynamic,
Yeah, Flat
uh,
Face, a couple of
Flat
smaller
Face.
companies, stuff like that. And so, I mean, we're, literally it's a small handful of people that are living out most people's dreams here.
Yep, and you're not always gonna get what you dream of. Sometimes you just gotta accept like just being a part of something. Even if you're not the best or you're not succeeding, you're still doing something you love along with everybody else who's like minded.
I honestly have gotten to the point where I think the industry is getting better at this, but I feel like the internet is definitely just as toxic as it's ever been. And so I will revert back to like, my original statements at the beginning of the podcast where, I don't normally post fingerboarding clips simply because of my insecurities with, my just gimp little finger over here and just people poking fun at that stuff, making fun of that stuff. The biggest thing that I see, which makes no sense whatsoever, is like you'll get the hardcore skateboarders who are trying to name the trick that the fingerboarders are doing, and they're literally doing battle in the comments over, no, that's not an impossible. It didn't fully wrap around his finger type stuff and like just kind of crazy stuff like that. But there's always like people either poking fun, making fun, talking smack, or literally like doing battle in the comments for the proper name of what that person calling that trick, even though like it had nothing to do with anything. It's just a fingerboarding clip. But instead of enjoying the clip, we're doing battle in the comments. And so comment culture, I feel like, is definitely directly correlated to maybe TikTok. I don't know, but I feel like it's gotten worse.
Yeah, I agree. It's just like people enjoy to hate almost. I mean, you just live in a weird time right now where it's like everybody's so divided in a way. I don't want to say like everybody, but it's like there's a lot of haters, basically what I'm saying. They're internet haters, trolls, people that comment when all they have to do is just keep scrolling. There's always going to be people that try to bring you down, but if you love something, you're going to keep going through it.
Well, I bring that up because it's one of those things like we're all very, very passionate about what we're doing. And so when I see a lot of that stuff, I know that like it's got to be eating at that creator, that author, like whoever's making that post, whether it's, a fingerboarding clip or it's I don't know, like, a product pick or whatever it is. Like there's usually someone somewhere that's got to like throw in their 5 cents and stuff. And, I don't know. I don't get the rhyme or reason kind of behind it, but it's one of those like, we're all looking for that validation and that approval. And I feel like if you're one of those people that are doing that or notorious for doing that, or if you're just one of those people that just literally just does it just to do it and you think it's funny, like stop that. Like there's real people like on the other side of, whatever's being posted, whatever's being produced, whatever's being put out there.
Like light and dark or good and evil. There's always going to be people that like to validate people, and there's always going to be people that like to discredit people. So just gotta accept it for what it is and try to be strong, and just try to do what you do because you love it and nobody else's opinions matter because you know what you're doing is something you believe in.
Yeah. And it's one of those things like it may not even happen that often, but like it hasn't happened really this year, but like last year, like 3 or 4 comments, and it just like it'll hit you in the feels where like you kind of don't want to really do anything for a couple of days. And like you just kind of like gotta like self-reflect on some of the like just hurtful things that people are saying. And a lot of it's not even like what they're saying, but like how they're saying it. And so I don't know, there's no like tone and stuff like that as far as comments and stuff goes. So, you might say something one way, but it's meant another. But it's one of those things that's like, depending on how you're reading it, how you're interpreting it, like it can get into your feels for sure. And so like I don't know, I kind of want to like, bring that to light a little bit because like, I'm not sitting here saying like, I'm just this stone cold dude that like, I can just brush things off my shoulder, but like someone's taking a jab at, something that you're extremely passionate about. You put a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of effort into, and you've got people just out there just talking smack about it. Like, it's hurtful for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah, I completely understand. Like, say somebody works like for a week to collect clips, work really hard, put hour or two into trying to land every trick, like puts a lot of time into it, and they have the courage to actually post it on social media, and then they post it, and then somebody comes into the comments saying that nollie flip was sketchy, or that backside slide didn't even lock in, or just something like that, and that person put all that effort and time, and they're proud of it, and then it just wow, it's a little stab to the heart, and they're like, no, like, why don't you like my stuff? But it's part of the game, dude. I wish it wasn't that way. I really do.
Like we talked earlier, and like I just learned heel flips like 8 months ago. And I was talking to someone because I was proud about it because like I've never really tried to do heel flips because they were just hard and it's the flick. It's foreign to me. But like I was super proud and like I was at an event and someone's like, "Oh yeah, dude, like heel flips are super easy. I've been doing them since like can't remember the year." And I was just like, "Bro, like can you just be like, oh dude, that's awesome. Like why do you got to be like, you know what I mean? Like just crediting like all the stuff that I'm like super proud of." And I was like, "Okay, that's cool, bro. Like I wasn't even talking to you, but that's cool." And so
Right?
I'm just like,
Just a little fist bump. Like, good job, dude.
yeah, that's all. I was just like, yeah, just be like, yeah, good job, dude. You just like completely stole my thunder and all that stuff, and just basically just like downplayed my like achievement and whatever. It was just crazy. But anyways, like, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm just being a little just being petty or whatever. But yeah, it's crazy.
People definitely need to treat others how they'd like to be treated. Basically, if you do something you're proud of, you don't want somebody to poop on it. Be nice to people. It's that simple.
I feel like we got to be strong, but we also got to like also, be kind to our fellow fingerboarder or whatnot. And a lot of us, unpopular opinion, we all pretty much kind of suffer with, mental issues and mental health issues and stuff like that, just as individuals and stuff. And so depending on what you say, when you say it, I mean, it could be said at the like worst time or the worst day for someone, stuff like that. And so you just don't know kind of like what people are going through, things like that. And so I don't know. I'm pretty like my last part of like, this rant, but definitely be kind to your fellow fingerboarder. If you're one of those people that you think, trolling is fun, it's funny, stuff like that. I'm just, be aware that, there's actually other people on the other side of that post, the other side of that reel, just on the other side of whatever content that you're consuming.
Exactly, and don't know what everybody's going through either. So
Yeah, and I know we touched a little bit on events, but I know like there's definitely a feeling of trying to feel accepted within the community whenever you do host an event. And that was my big thing when I started hosting events was I honestly did not know if anybody would even show up to my events. I didn't know, if I'm like season one, like, I lived in Missouri at the time. We went all the way to Las Vegas, which is a 2 day drive and just one way just to get to Las Vegas, truck and trailing all the parks. And like, we had some pre-sales, we had like 15, 20 people, but I mean, I honestly thought that 15, 20 people was all that was going to show up, like, which isn't bad, but I mean, if you're traveling and trekking it pretty far, you're trying to, you're thinking big, you're thinking like, oh, I might have, 100 people, or, you go on the crazy scale and be like, oh, I could host another rendezvous or something where there's 300 people show up. But like, there's that fear whenever you're starting out that like people won't accept or basically be involved with whatever it is that you're doing. And that fear is very, very real. And I feel like that fear won't actually ever go away. It's just one of those things that you just kind of got to push through.
Yeah, it's exactly. It's basically like you gotta hope for the best, but expect the worst the whole time. You gotta if you go to an event and you meet one cool person that's gonna develop like a lifelong bond or long standing friendship, it's totally worth it in the end because that one relationship. You know what I'm saying?
That's the best part of my entire fingerboarding journey is literally all of the people that I have met, all the networking, just with all the different brands, all the different companies, all the different people, all the different fingerboarders, all the events. Like I have almost, I mean, at this point in my life now, like 95% of all of my friends are basically gamers or fingerboarders. Like, I don't even know if like anybody in my circle that's really not a gamer or a fingerboarder. And so it's literally a good feeling where like you're surrounded by people that, utterly enjoy doing these same things that you're doing. And it makes life so much more enjoyable.
Yeah, especially when you go to the meetups and you see people you've already met. You're like, "Hi, what's up?" It's just like so much to love at events. I love events. They're what I've been focusing on lately is just hitting up all the events that are around me. That's like
Dang.
that and sponsoring events is another thing I've been determined to do, and just being a better part of the Michigan community in particular, but the whole community altogether.
Yeah, no, the exact same thing for me. I try to sponsor literally is every single event that comes my way. I've literally sponsored. I think I've not sponsored like two international events, mainly at the time because I was dealing primarily with concretes and I didn't have a sufficient way of shipping those internationally where I felt comfortable, I
Mm.
guess, with it. So that's the only time I've ever like declined a, sponsorship request. But I mean, I try to sponsor as many events as possible. And then I try to go out to as many events as possible as well. Like I get excited whenever I find out like, a couple of the homies are going to be at this event or at that event and stuff like that. And so it's definitely like it's a party. It's a good time.
Heck yeah, it is. Just being around everybody who's like minded is just awesome.
So this is going to be a great time to do our listen to win. So we've got, what are you calling this? A lucky ledge?
Yeah, it's my lucky ledge. I'll bust it out right now, right here.
So this is handmade by you.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely gorgeous. Looks like it's made out of resin. Kind of to give us the deets on this thing. I mean, this thing's pretty cool.
Well, it's got multiple pour resin. It's got coins in there, and then there's some colors floating around. The bottom is actually like a bunch of like glass pebbles. So it's 3 layers. I think that was a half-inch piece of wood. So the base is wood.
Super
Got the
sick.
resin. And it's about 7 inches, I think, is the grind surface.
Yeah, you got the
Pretty
pointer at the
versatile.
end. I like it. It's pretty cool. It's gorgeous.
Thank you.
All right, so let's give them the challenge. So I actually had to soften this challenge up a little bit. Tell them the original challenge.
My original challenge, I wanted you guys to do a nollie flip, front tail, front side 90 heel out. So you kind of ride out 50.
And then I
But
told him, like, I don't know, man, that's a pretty hefty challenge. So we're gonna simplify it, especially for some of our beginner listeners out there, even though this isn't even like
right.
a beginner type trick, but the challenge is going to be kick flip, nose manny, nollie flip out on some sort of ledge or a slab or a mini pad, something like that. So
As long as it's higher than a half inch. Got to be a half inch or
half inch or higher. So we're just looking
yeah.
at a kick flip, nose manny, nollie flip out. And so this will be who did it first, not who did it the best. You're gonna have to tag Ninjalion.FB, USAFBL, USFBL_FBP. So put your clip in. I promise we're not gonna make fun of you. Maybe a little bit. No, I'm kidding. We're not gonna make fun of you at all. But
Nah, we don't make fun.
definitely post your clip, tag those three accounts, and the first person to do so is gonna get this lucky ledge.
Excited to see the submissions.
Yeah, definitely,
I
definitely.
love Manny combos. They're technical, that old school Rodney Mullen type stuff.
You know what? If anybody can do your original challenge, that's viable as well. And then I'm gonna throw in a Loco fingerboard. It'll be a big boy. It'll be a 36 by 96 fingerboard
Oh,
from
snap.
Loco Fingerboard. So if you can do the original challenge, go ahead and tell them the challenge again.
So now the kickflip, front tail, front side 90, heel out. So you come out faking.
All right, so if you can do that combination, you'll get the Lucky Ledge and you'll get a Loco Fingerboards deck as well.
I'll tell you what, I'll even throw in one of my magnetic build trays too. You know,
And
so,
a magnetic build tray. So
if they do the original combo.
we do the original combo. So we have two challenges theoretically. We've got the original challenge, and then we've got the kickflip, nose mani, nollie flip out. Let's
Let's
get
see
it.
them,
I'm
guys.
excited. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna assume that you probably got some future projects. Anything that you kind of want to let your fans and stuff know?
Neolithic underscore fingerboarding is my company. I make resin stuff and I've developed a epoxy resin concrete blend, which is pretty awesome that I kind of want people to try out. It's like it's hard like resin, but it grinds like concrete. It's hard to explain. It's just got the little bit of grittiness to it. Pretty nice stuff. And yeah, other than that, the events happening in Michigan. They're the Ferndale one. I'll probably be at. I'll be at Pipsqueak's event, which I don't know all the deets on it yet, but I'll be there. My local skate park. I'm skateboarding out there every Sunday. So if you guys want to stop by my city skate park, just hit me up. We'll meet up on a Sunday.
And what about Grind Time 5?
Grind Time 5. I'm actually when day? Do you know the day of that? Like
August 10th, I believe.
August 7th? I might be there. That's the day
Okay.
after my birthday, actually.
Okay. I know the
So,
Ferndale, Michigan one. I think that's July 27th. It's a
yeah.
2-day event, so I can't remember. It's definitely on the 27th, but I can't remember if it's the day before and the day after. So it's a 2-day weekend event at the Ferndale, Michigan one.
Yeah, I'm sponsoring that one too. Freaking Kevin's a homie. Me and
Yeah, no, we know
Da
that guy.
Vinci Casa.
Mm-hmm.
So the Michigan gang.
Michigan, yeah, yeah. Do you have any other hobbies or anything like that that's people don't know about you
Yeah.
besides fingerboarding?
I started karate when I was 8, and I got up to an orange belt. My parents couldn't afford it after I was like 11, so I stopped that. But I've always had a passion for like nunchucks, like Ninja Turtles. Uh, when I was a kid, I loved like Power Rangers, Ninja Turtles, like any ninja stuff. So like that's kind of where the Ninja Lion comes from because I'm a Leo.
Oh, okay.
I'm a Leo, and I love ninja stuff. So Ninja Lion, put them together. And video games. I like video games, but even though I don't play them as much as I used to, since I working a lot now. But yeah, fingerboarding and video games.
No, I feel that. I feel that. I like the nunchucks aspect to it because I feel like as men, like I feel like we've always deeply rooted, like always wanted to be like a weapons trained like person, whether it was like nunchucks or a sword or a spear or a staff or something like that. Like I feel like all the old like karate movies and stuff like that. Like I feel like everybody is secretly always wanted to be like a black belt and like some kind of weapons training.
Oh yeah, who don't respect Bruce Lee? You know, like
Yeah.
Bruce Lee is be like Wata. You know, like everybody knows Bruce Lee.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, like, I feel like, like as soon as you told me that, it gave me Kill Bill like flashbacks. Like, I'm just like, man, I'm actually gonna watch that tonight. But yeah, I mean, I don't know anybody who doesn't want to like just be a badass at like swinging a sword and stuff. And so, or like, Star Wars lightsaber or whatever it is. I'm just like, dude, like, I feel like it's so deeply ingrained in our culture, but like, not enough people are really doing it.
There's a thing with them called flow arts, which is basically it's like a freestyle of different props. You can use swords, sais, nunchucks, staffs. There's all sorts of juggle clubs you can flow arts with. Like it's a whole branch of stuff. It's pretty cool, pretty interesting.
No, I love it. I'm all about it. I'm here for it.
it puts you in the zone, where you're just in the same zone, kind of like when you're fingerboarding, it's like everything melts away. All the troubles in the world are gone. It's just, you're doing this one thing. It's sublime.
Man, well, I'm sure you've got a decent sized list of shout outs that you want to, recognize and give people a shout out.
Let's see. I'm going to shout out my mom and my dad because they raised me to be the person I am. And I love them for that. My kids, Max and Jaden, because they're awesome and they're my homies. They're basically my best friends, and they come with me to a lot of events. So if you see me at an event with two little grams, those are mine. They come from my coin pouch. My grandma, she was a very big part of my life as a kid, and she spoiled me. She bought me probably my first tech deck, and yeah, I love her to death. She died when I was 9, so we're cool till then. My cousin Dwayne, which gave me my very first skateboard, which kind of kindled the passion of skateboarding into fingerboarding. So I owe him credit. Tech decks. I'll always have a spot in my heart for tech decks. Obviously, you can tell. Let's see, the Tech Deck Fingers of Fury video with Darren Langsthorn, Damian Barnadette, Tony Paulthex. I want to thank them because that video was awesome, as well as the Flying Fingers video from Tech Deck with Matt Johnson. That was also an awesome video, which taught me a lot about making obstacles, and the stuff that he made inspired me to make my own kind of stuff as a kid, to shred. Let's see, Mike Schneider for creating Flat Face, evolving the hobby even more. Black River, 25 years. Dynamic, because their trucks are awesome, and Scott always makes it right if you've got strip bases or anything like that. Fingerboard Unlimited, I want to thank them because they're the first group and the first part, community thing that I felt a part of, so shout out to COTY, Mexico. And then Birdman Eric. I don't know if you know Birdman Eric.
We know Birdman Eric.
Birdman Eric, actually, when I first come in to fingerboarding, he accepted me into the flock of birds. And then I had no idea about the drama that he was involved in within the community when I first come into the community. And basically, he gave me a shot to be part of a team. And he's a good dude. He really is. Most person I want to shout out is Josh MF Clark Stovetop. He's my homie. We go way back. Me and him always end up on the same team somehow. We were just on Fathers. Now, dude, how are we always on the same team? We were on Loose Nuts. It blows my mind. At one time we were on Boozy Ramps at one time. So yeah, we've been on three teams. Yeah. Oh, nope, 4 teams. Shred Knot. I was on a Shred Knot team. So yeah, we've been on a bunch of teams together. So shout out to Josh Clark Stovetop. He's a homie. Jeremy Williams, Boozy Ramps. We got Baldy Get, FB Canada, Gutter Fingers, Mike Tucker from Milk. Shout out Mike Tucker. Kyle at Double Joint, because I love my double joints. Let's see, Clay Markle, Squirrel Nut. I want to thank Mason Baker, Chems FB /Skate 618, because that's where I get most of my skate supplies. Level Up Fingerboarding, Lab Wheels, Sir Brian Malto, because he's a returning customer. He's probably my best customer. He's my homie. Nux, motherfucking Nux. Excuse my language, but I have to get that in there for Nux. Stitchy Skate, Baja Extra Blast. The whole community, really, just everybody. I want to thank everybody as a whole unit. I love you guys. Fingerboarding in general. And then the Michigan Gang. I want to thank Jordan from Redemption. I want to thank Matt Rip, Pipsqueak Wheels, Jonathan Walser, hey, it's Kodiak, Sir Mr. Wes McFadden. I believe you might know him, Levine. Joey Sadro, Wordy Curley, I think is his last name, Serial City Fingerboarding. Let's see, Adrian from ABC Ramps. I want to thank him. Michael Killian, University Shredder. Kevin Woods, Da Vinci Casso. Let's see, Wizard.FB. Alan Dean from Grind Fingerboards. You guys know him. Battleground. for hosting the events. Finger Frenzy 124 and Exodus Ride Shop for just like always like being part of the community and providing a big variety of fingerboarding skateboard gear and hosting the Chicken Fingers event. And last but certainly not least, God. Thank you, God, because without God, nothing would be possible.
That's a good shout out list right there. I like that.
Was it the longest? I'm not sure if it's the longest, but
Not the longest. I think Fidgety FB
he
has the
got me.
longest. Yeah.
I figured he would, but I knew it was close.
He went all in. He went feet first on that list. So
Yeah, he
I'll have
did.
to, I don't remember what number it was, but it's definitely like within like the last 10 episodes. But it's a good episode too, by the way. But yeah, he went pretty hard as far as that shout out list. But man, all right. So I got a few shout outs as well. So first off, if you made it this far, finger the like button. Finger the like button and definitely tell someone about the podcast. If you know they're in the podcast, tell them, hey, dude, USFBL Fingerboard Podcast, the weekly episodes. Also, if you're watching this before anybody else on our Patreon channel, thank you for subscribing and being a Patreon member. I know we've got early access content, we got subscription boxes, and so much more. We actually just dropped the prices on a lot of our tiers, and we added a lot more perks and stuff like that as well to our tiers as well. So right now is literally never been a better time to be a Patreon member. So appreciate all that love, all that support, and also to my editor Brian O'Neill for editing this podcast. So Justin, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on TikTok, Instagram, Ninjalion.FB. There's Neolithic underscore fingerboarding, which is my passion project, side business, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, you can find me on YouTube, same Ninjalion.FB.
And then I'm going to make it easy for everybody. I'm going to post those links in the description.
Yeah,
So
post them down there.
Justin, it's been an absolute pleasure. I appreciate you coming on to the podcast.
No problem. Thank you for having me. It's like been a real big honor to be on something as accredited as USAFBL podcast. It's like the top fingerboard podcast. So I'm happy to be on.
Love it. All right, man. I appreciate all those kind words. Till next time.
See you guys.